Hallo und willkommen zurück zu Avadon 3 und jetzt geht's hier in den vermutlich letzten Kampf. Wir haben leider nur 5 Leute, weil der eine, die Entscheidung hat mir nicht gefallen, womit wir den als Helfer bekommen hätten. Ja, Protoss und Redbeard stehen sich gegenüber. Redbeard's tower is not empty. A lot of people are waiting in this hall. Hands, eyes and hearts. Most of the highest officials of Avadon. Somehow, they were informed that Redbeard was coming. They are here to greet you. Redbeard is already standing on the platform in the center of the hall, face to face with acting Keeper Protoss. They stare at each other silently. They are trying to act calm, but nobody is fooled. Behind Protoss, you can see Enwickler, a representative of Hanvar's council, needs to be on hand to note who will be taking control of the Black Fortress. You quietly slip into the room so that the final meeting can begin. You walk up and take your place behind Redbeard. Someone closes the gates, sealing all participants in the hall. Protoss says, "Pardon me for the gates. They will not open again until this matter is settled. Avadon and the Pact need certainty." Redbeard stays silent. Protoss looks over his shoulder at Enwickler. "Thanks to Hanvar's council for sending a witness. She will be reporting back what happens here today." Then Protoss looks at you. "And Kordanor, I'm happy to see you again. I'm glad you could come to this important event." "Hello, Protoss." Not quietly. Protoss sighs. "Another silent intruder. After all the inconvenience you have put us through, I expected more speeches." Redbeard stays silent. Finally, Protoss grows irritated by his predecessor. He says, "Well, Redbeard, this whole dramatic show is because of you. You have done some good, I admit. You have also been replaced. You need to accept it." Finally, Redbeard speaks. "I am Keeper. The oath I swore and the law you follow say the same thing. I am Keeper until I die. You are a traitor, Protoss. Yet, I want to show I have learned. I will do something new. I will offer mercy." Redbeard points at Protoss' gold necklace. "I gave you that so you could be effective in my absence. I am back. Give it to me and leave, and I swear I will pardon you for your crimes." Protoss looks back at the envoy from Hanvar's council. He nods. He turns back to Redbeard. "No, former Keeper, your time is done. Avadon is too strong and too wild. You are old and sick. The war is ended. We will have a new start." As Protoss speaks, Redbeard starts to tremble just the tiniest amount, but nobody here misses it. Redbeard raises a trembling hand. All of the control he worked so hard to regain fades in an instant. In a moment, he looks like a weak, harmless old man. He stumbles toward Protoss, pointing and shaking a hand at the necklace. Protoss looks at Redbeard with pity. Redbeard says, "That necklace, it is mine. I gave it for a reason. It is mine. I control it. Give it to me. Last chance, or I will choke you." The mood in the room changes in an instant. Someone laughs. Then another. Then all but you join in. It is unthinkable. A host of officials in Avadon laughing at the mighty Redbeard. Even Protoss can't restrain a chuckle. "Choke me? Oh, Redbeard, you thought you could catch me with that simple trickery? Our finest eyes examined this necklace. There are no spells on it." "No," Redbeard says, "there aren't. It was just a distraction." The laughing courtiers don't notice the new edge in his voice, but you do. But by then it is too late. Redbeard's weakness fades in an instant. He lurches forward with blinding speed. "Ha! Ah, no, watch out, what?" There's a cloud of sparks thrown up by Protoss' magical shield. Redbeard lunged forward, a long needle in his hand. The shield blocked most of the blow. Only the tip of the needle passed through it. It was enough. Protoss looks down at the long red scratch on the back of his hand. Now Redbeard laughs. Protoss stumbles back. The audience looks at each other, not sure what happened. "Die, traitor!" And then the poison takes effect. Protoss collapses to the ground, dead. Redbeard takes the gold necklace. All the spell on this did was keep it clean and shiny and distract you. It did its job well. He says, as he steps over the body, the end of another traitor. Then he comes face to face with the envoy from Henvar's council. She tries to hide her fear. Redbeard speaks triumphantly to the envoy from Henvar's council. There, your little crisis of leadership is settled. I have killed the keeper of Avadon, thus I am keeper. It is settled. Now get out of my fortress. The envoy looks around at the gathered hearts, eyes and hands. They look silently back at her, but nobody moves. Decades of fear paralyze them. They look broken, as if they never expected any other end. Watch. Redbeard stands still and silent, secure in his triumph. The envoy shouts, "Will none of you do anything? You will let this madman rule you again?" They look away. Then Envoy Diren looks at you. "Kordanor, you are the only one I can ask. You are the last hope for the pact, so I will ask you, what? Of all assembled here, only you understand Redbeard enough to see what a threat he is. Only you are strong enough to defeat him." Redbeard smiles quietly, secure in his victory. "I ask you, in the name of Henvar's council, to please take Redbeard's place for the future of the pact." Ich werde jetzt als erstes einfach mal Redbeard auf den Thron lassen und gucken, wie das ausgeht. Und danach werden wir uns auf den letzten Kampf wagen und den umhacken. Don't ask me that, it's not my job to decide. I just follow orders. I don't think Avadon should exist at all. Why are you asking me? You now know Redbeard better than anyone here. His strengths and weaknesses. You are also the strongest warrior here. You have a chance to change Avadon and the pact for the better. Please take it. I will consider. Redbeard waits silently. The envoy watches you. The audience has no idea what is going on. You take a step back, ready to think and make your final decision. Okay. Lord's Wahl. You try to talk to the spectators of this conflict, but none of them are eager for a conversation. They are just trying to look invisible and get out alive. The envoy calls out to you. "Kordanor, for good or ill, we must settle this matter. I am asking you, in the name of the pact, to replace Redbeard. Have you decided?" "I have a decision." Everyone leans forward a little, even Redbeard. "What have you decided, Hand?" "Redbeard is the true keeper of Avadon. I say he stays." A gasp rises in the hall. The envoy is crushed. Redbeard looks triumphant. Envoy Vega says, "But Redbeard threw your life away. He tried to have you killed twice, if reports are true. Yet you are still loyal to him. Why? How does he command such obedience from you all?" "Because if I replaced Redbeard, I would have to be keeper. I don't want the job. Because Redbeard has earned the post according to the law, twice. Because I can't stand being in Avadon. If Redbeard stays, I can do my duties elsewhere. Redbeard plans ended the war. He is truly capable of doing the job. I don't think that I can defeat Redbeard." Nummer 4. The envoy looks at Redbeard. The keeper looks smug. He says, "He also helped cause this war with his cruelty, his inflexibility. Are you a fool? Haven't you seen that? Redbeard cuts in. "Enough of you. You have lost. Envoy Kordanor, you've made your decision?" "I have." "Then I am keeper, once and again. You will all acknowledge it. Now." The hands, eyes and hearts all kneel. Not being a fool, you do too. The envoy backs away, wondering if she will be able to get out of here alive. Redbeard says, "This is a new, beautiful day. A day to be rebuilt. We will punish traitors. We will punish the Farlands. However, I will also show mercy. I will not punish anyone in this room, even though some of you desperately deserve it." Then he turns to you. "Kordanor, I have doubted you many times, yet you have proven yourself. I have business with you before we begin the great work of rebuilding." "Yes?" "Your service was great. The hands who served under you will be given the authority they deserve. As for you, you need to be rewarded. I need to prove to those here that I'm still a just leader. What post do you want, Kordanor? Hand or eye? Heart or something else?" "I care about knowledge, not battle. I would be an eye. I like the active lifestyle. I will remain the hand. I am wise and strong. I will be heart of Avadon." "It is a shame. I think you could be great one day. An envoy, somewhere important. Or a heart, having you out in the wilderness, chasing wretches. It seems a waste. Yet you are an adventurer at heart. I grant your request. Remember always when you are too old for the roaming life that I have great plans for you. That is settled. Now, it is time." "Time?" Time to announce our victory, to tell Avadon the glorious news, to rebuild the Black Fortress and the Pact, to get vengeance on our enemies, and to celebrate our hard-won peace. He claps his hands. The gates open. Follow. The Age of Chaos is ended. A new age will begin. Let us make sure it is a worthy one. Redbeard walks out of the hall. You follow right behind him. At last, as hard as it is to believe, it is time to enjoy your victory. The meeting, which historians will eventually call the Scourging of Avadon, comes to an end. The gates open. The carnage is cleared away. All of the attendants turn and somberly go downstairs, ready to announce what happened to the ancient servants of Avadon. It is time. In time, people realize that this meeting was the true end of the Age of Chaos. The path of Avadon, and thus the Pact, was set. Everything to come sprang from what was decided in Redbeard's tower. When you reach the main floor of Avadon, the eyes and hands gather around, eager to see who would serve as the new keeper. When they see Redbeard come down the stairs to greet them, their expressions are fascinating to watch. They are scared, demoralized, some look close to fainting. But then Redbeard speaks. He is still weak, his voice wavers. He is no longer even as strong as he was when you first met him in Fort Forsyth. This war has taken a vicious toll on him. Yet, when he speaks, you can see why he commanded so much power for so long. His words are calm and clear. He tells a beautiful story, the tale of a strong united pact. A pact that can forgive its enemies, unite the Wildrim, calm the Farlands. Little by little, you see their hands and eyes come to accept Redbeard's return. He is terrifying and brutal, true, but in a way they are familiar with. When he stops talking, they cheer. Of course, to maintain adequate loyalty, Redbeard quietly purges many in the months and years to come. It is in his nature. Like you, none are able to step up and challenge him. Redbeard is kind enough to include you in his speech. When he brings you up and stand beside him, the applause is deafening. You are hailed justly as the true hero of Avadon and the Pact. As Avadon cheers, Redbeard gives you a look. His face is smiling, but his eyes are cold. You suspect that he even now suspects you of disloyalty. You are resolved to never try to eclipse his fame and power. He will always be watching. Redbeard also brings up Envoy Diran to stand beside him. He swears a new relationship between Avadon and the Pact, in which Avadon is more humble and grants Hanva's council more power. Envoy Diran smiles and shakes Redbeard's hand. And nobody believes a word that is said. Avadon will stay true to its nature, the cold keeper of order. And then the speeches end. Feasts are had. Casks of wine are opened. The dungeons are quiet. The celebrating and carousing last for days. Not long later, the Farlands sue for peace. There is yet another great meeting at the Pact, and the Farlands negotiate peace. Redbeard is there, of course. You don't get to come. He has plenty of work to keep you busy. At the meeting, Redbeard is true to his nature. He is merciless. He makes sure that the Farlands pay dearly for their attack on the Pact. Centuries from now, Farlanders will speak Redbeard's name in a terrified whisper. He makes sure of that. Then hands are shaken, treaties are signed. There are yet more parties, parades and celebrations. Then the true work begins, creating a new, peaceful world. The first order of business, of course, is cleaning up after the war. As the nations of the Pact focus to rebuild, Avadon is allowed to deal with the Farlands. Their attack caused enormous destruction and loss of life. They must be punished. All agree on that, but not how to approach it in a way that the seeds of another war aren't planted. Redbeard soon makes his goal clear: fear. The Farlands expect him to burn their nations to the ground. He has learned enough to not take such a drastic step, and he doesn't have enough energy left for the effort. Instead, harsh taxes, extractions of blood money, and targeted executions do their job. The Farlands are left bloody, scared, and hungry for many years to come. The fierce, independent Cimmerians turn out to be surprisingly easy to pacify. Chief Tilla and her son Gerd are properly scared by their brush with Avadon, and they are grateful for your mercy. Vanatok's dad fiercely argues that the Cimmerians should sue for peace quickly. When this happens, they are rewarded with the peace talks. Cimmeria learns at last to stay on the other side of the border. In return, they are allowed to mostly survive. The Wildrum rebellion comes to an end. Redbeard demands no less than total submission. The rebels are crushed. Never again will one of the Pact states declare itself above the law of the Pact. Little by little, the freedoms of the Pact states are lost to Anvar's council in return for safety. None can ever agree if it was worth the price. As for the corruption, it stops spreading and withdraws to its old borders. The Pact realizes how close it came to disaster and it leaves well enough alone. There are no more monitor bases. It becomes illegal to enter the corruption, and this law is seriously enforced. None ever discover the truth about that land, its origins or purpose. You ignore it, and it ignores you. The lands of the Warborn... Oh, das ist der Text zu weit. The lands of the Warborn stay as they always were. A chaotic arrangement of tribes, alliances, and squabbles. They aren't severely punished. Being trapped together in their lands seems like punishment enough. Yet, some good does come out of the war. Your informal alliance with the wretches pays some fruit. Some of them are actually capable of forming friendly villages and not raiding everywhere. In time, a few wretch villages are allowed to take root in the Pact. Wretches are cunning scouts and fearless workers, and they prove their worth even if Lord Sval gains some political influence, to everyone's surprise. As for the Tavern Empire, the organizer of the rebellion, there is never any debate about their fate. They were the fiercest fighters against the Pact. They suffer the most vicious punishment. Temples are leveled, gods are slain, massive reparations are taken. The Pact's vengeance is vicious, total, and in the end out of control. Nobody in the tavern whispers a word against the Pact for 100 years. The work of peace is, in a way, even more tiring and full of despair than the work of war. In the end, however, the treaties are in place. The final heads have been chopped off. The final payments are delivered. Then life goes on. The hands you were given to command are invaluable in these years of work. Yet, in the end, you must set them free. They so go off to chase their own much-delayed goals. Unsurprisingly, Khalida is unable to tolerate living in an Avadon where Redbeard rules. As soon as possible, she slips away to fight as a hand elsewhere. You hear the stories. She is a tireless warrior for the Pact, but you never see her again. Boltan doesn't return to Orklander after all. You convince him to stay in Avadon. His aversion to violence never leaves him, but whenever there is a dispute to settle, he is always the best negotiator for the job. His dedication to peace causes him to argue with Redbeard many times. Surprisingly, Redbeard tolerates it. Boltan's constant influence serves you all very well in the years to come. When Redbeard returns to power, Rudolph slips away. That very night, in fact, he returns to the Wildrum, where he works to bring peace to that war-torn land. He is useful when Redbeard learns of his treachery, which was inevitable. The shaman is spared. Many thought that the rebels would never submit to the Pact. In fact, thanks in part to Rudolph's help, a lasting peace is achieved. It is nothing short of miraculous. Somehow, the knowledge Nathalie obtained in Svar's Peninsula satisfies her. At last, she is able to believe in herself and concentrate in putting her great talent in the service of the Pact. She settles in very well under Redbeard's rule. When she gets a mission, she carries it out without hesitation, and she is rewarded with more power in return. She is a great ally, though eventually a frightening one. Selena returns to her duties as hand, carrying them out with cheerful efficiency. Meanwhile, all of the thinking constructs have completely disappeared. She says that she destroyed them in the end. You chose to believe her. She is skilled, knowledgeable, and very useful to Redbeard. Everyone likes her so much that nobody asks too many questions when she disappears for months at a time. The years passed, the pact settled its differences, the ruined cities rebuilt themselves, Avadon repaired its damage and replaced its fallen servants. Much to everyone's surprise, Redbeard is a competent leader. Once the war is over and his years-long hunt for Delis is settled, he calms down a lot. He recovers from the damage he took during the war. He manages to get some rest. The infection of the corruption is always braining him, but he at least never learns that you let Protoss poison his medicine. He is efficient and merciless, but he is cruel in a predictable way. People find that they can live with this. You resume your duties as hand. Once again, you travel the fierce roads of Linnaeus. You help cement the peace, win battles and gain a fair amount of fame and influence for yourself. Redbeard never fully comes to trust you, but you make sure you stay valuable. You never let your renown eclipse his. In return, you are allowed some success. It is a long and storied career. To your buying day, young hands come to you for advice and tales of the Age of Chaos. Thus, Linnaeus settles into peace. Damage is mended. Redbeard is efficient, sustained by whatever mysterious magic keeps him young. The chaos is slowly forgotten. None close to him ever forget that he was infected by the corruption. Redbeard managed somehow to keep this weakness in check. It is a good time. You spend years sleeping easily at night, no longer worrying about what disaster will greet you the next morning. All is calm. That is why it is such a surprise when, about 10 years after the end of the Age of Chaos, Redbeard is assassinated. 3 young, ambitious hands catch him unaware in a back hall late at night. It seems that he is exhausted and a bit drunk. And he doesn't have time to activate his defenses. They stab him several times and he dies. You are largely spared in the purge and unpleasantness that follows. The new keeper, Briar of Calamdariel, knows better than to challenge the great hero of the Age of Chaos. You are pushed gently off to the side, left to commune to be effective in your post. As long as you do your job, keep quiet and don't try to change policy, you are left alive. It is a fair deal and you take it. You enjoy the rest of a productive, reasonably happy life and you die in your bed. And that is the end of your story. In time, all of this passes into memory. Redbeard, Delis, the Age of Chaos, you, and yes, even Avadon, their stories are written down and gather dust. Your tale, all of the blood, sacrifice and triumph, in the end serves to bore generations of school children. The world you pass on to them is both your gift and your curse. Your time passes, the young are left to laugh, fear, suffer, survive in and save once again the world that you made. The end. Ja, sehr schön. Dann werden wir jetzt laden und gegen Redbeard wahrscheinlich kämpfen. So, wir haben jetzt unsere Entscheidung gemacht. Redbeard is confused by the delay. I don't know what the envoy is wasting Why the envoy is wasting our time. Tell her you support me and we can begin the work of repairing the pact. The envoy calls out to you. Kordanor, for good or ill, we must settle this matter. I am asking you in the name of the pact to replace Redbeard. Have you decided? I have a decision. Everyone leans forward a little, even Redbeard. What have you decided, Hand? Redbeard's time as keeper is past. Since none of you will replace him, I will. Redbeard gives you a cold look. He doesn't seem concerned. The envoy says, is this true? You will step forward and challenge Redbeard. Battle him for the future of Avadon and the pact. Fight him to the death. Oh, if you put it that way, I support Redbeard. I chose to fight Redbeard. Redbeard draws a sword. He isn't surprised. He expected to have a fight somebody. All signs of his earlier faint weakness are gone. Then he looks at you. Kordanor, you would kill me? Have you not seen how strong I am? I cannot be defeated. As long as I draw breath, I will serve the pact. You think a little thing like you could ever stop me? Why? Why are you throwing your life away? Avadon is corrupt. It must fall. I will become keeper and I will leave. The pact is weak and soft. I will use the power of Avadon to purge our weakness, crush the disloyal, and make us great again. I will do what I can to make Avadon worthy protector of the pact. I will do what I can to make Avadon a worthy protector of the pact. Nehmen wir 3. Truth. I am glad to hear it. If you become keeper, you would do good work. You would probably be soft, but still effective. It won't happen, of course, but I am glad to know that you would have done the right thing. He gives his blade a few practice swings. Such a shame. We could have been such great allies. Could have done so much. Can't turn back now, though. So, what happens now? What happens now? Now I rebuild Avadon, Redbeard roars. Only one test remains. If any of you consider betraying me, see the fate of those who try. And then Redbeard charges. The spectators scramble for safety as the eyes cast protective spells to help them survive the upcoming cataclysm. The final battle begins. Okay. Okay, da kann ich halt zur Not nochmal neu starten und kurz vor dem Kampf noch die Turrets bauen. Blade Shield, Short Time, all damage is dramatically reduced and most melee attacks are riposted. Laufen wir hier hin. Blade Shield. Sehr gut. Der baut Turret 1. Der er läuft erstmal ran, macht noch nicht diesen Haste. Den machen wir gleich. Machen wir hier erstmal den Debuff drauf, ja, gleich wenn die Turrets da sind. Die zweite starke Turret. So, und die kann hier diesen Protective Dings casten. Dann machen wir jetzt einfach groß Aua drauf. Naja, scheint ja nicht mal besonders viel auszuhalten. Regenerating. Nächste Turret. Jetzt nochmal den Rage drauf. Nächste Turret. Und den da. Double Strike. Und den Honor. Ja, der bleibt jetzt hier stehen. Ja, es war ein Rundumschlag. Da weiß ich halt jetzt auch nicht, was da am stärksten ist. Machen wir einfach normalen. Naja, war jetzt nicht so doll. Und der hier? Ach, das war das, okay. Ja, es scheint mir jetzt nicht der schwerste Kampf zu sein. After months of seeing him weak... Oh, die Wachen kommen, oder was? Seeing him weak and confused, you are surprised to find that Redbeard is a formidable foe. He is fast on his feet, and he swings his massive blade with ease. Yet you manage to land a few glancing blows on him. He is irritated. Warriors, serve your master, prove your worth. It turns out not all of the guards in the room are loyal to Protoss. Suddenly, Redbeard vanishes. The terrified spectators look around, trying to see where he's gone. A moment later, you see him, and another, and another. There are 4 identical Redbeards, hunting you from the magic circles in the corners of the tower. They say, in perfect unison, "You will rot in my dungeon forever, Kordanor!" Okay, Charmed, holen wir direkt wieder raus. Das natürlich jeder kann. Aber ich glaube mal, die anderen 3... sind Kopien. Ja, holen wir raus. Und schießen da auch direkt drauf. 7. Stunt, sehr gut. Ja, kann einfach schießen. Okay. Vielleicht wäre es hier auch ganz gut, jetzt die Begleiter noch zu holen. Titan. Ach shit, der war zu weit weg. Aber eventuell können wir damit irgendwas erreichen. Naja, das war nicht so gut. Ich kann hier leider nichts tun jetzt. Na, dumm gelaufen. Dann benutzen wir hier noch ein bisschen was. Hasted und Warchant. Haben wir die jetzt leider nicht mit erreicht. Recuperation ist nicht nötig. Den anderen Kram brauchen wir auch gerade nicht. Ja, dann war es das jetzt hier. Resisted. Lieb. Oh, die sind's. Ah, ne, halt nicht so viel aus. Barry. Frozen. Aha. Gehen wir mal hier ein bisschen auf Seite. Holen uns den Typen noch. Und ja, wir könnten uns auf Redbeard konzentrieren. Mal gucken, was da als nächstes kommt. Wer ist dran? Die da. Wird mal hier rüber gehen. Ich glaube, da steht die mehr in Line of Sight zu meinen Leuten. Der ist jetzt gleich halb tot. Mal gucken, ob das was Neues triggert. Das ist die... Die könnte jetzt auch den mal rufen. Und da drauf. So, und die muss sich bewegen. Das ist aber ungünstig. Na, dann casten wir hier unten drauf. Nicht ganz optimal. Ja, es ist genauso, dass alles immer außer Reichweite ist. Das ist so gesund. Okay, die gehen zu den Türmen hin. Das ist der jetzt. Der läuft hier runter. Die machen ganz gute Arbeit. Knockback. Schockt. Oh oh. Okay. Da steht hier eigentlich ganz gut. Ich weiß nicht, ob der noch... Ich hoffe einfach mal, dass der drin ist. Ne, war nicht. Das ist jetzt schlecht. Das ist hier mit den Säulen ein bisschen doof. Kann man schlecht sehen. Schlecht abschätzen, wer jetzt in dem Heal-Dingens mit drin ist und wer nicht. Ich vermute mal, dass der jetzt hier unten stirbt. Ja. Guck mal gerade noch, ob der bei 50% noch was anderes macht. Ja. Ja, die Turrets sind natürlich jetzt auch direkt verschwunden, weil die von dem Charakter waren. Leider nur einmal casten. Oh, gehastet. Zweimal. You manage to land a harsh blow on the real Redbeard. It disrupts his concentration. A moment later, the other copies vanish. He swears loudly. Okay, die anderen braucht man also nicht zu töten. He swears loudly. He raises his hand and absorbs the fading power of his magical copies. Since the shades were intact, he gains a great deal of... Oh, okay. Dann sollte man sie vielleicht doch töten. Damit er nicht weiter gebufft wird. Verstehe. Okay, dann machen wir das nochmal. Den... Not yet. The envoy looks annoyed, Redbeard smirks. The audience whispers among themselves, making hasty alliances and trying to figure out how to survive this. And Vodyrin says, you may have a little more time to decide. Ist auch total unverdächtig, was ich hier mache. Not yet. Okay, dann... Okay. Have a decision. Redbeard's time as keeper has passed, since more of you will I chose to fight Redbeard. I will do what I can to make Avadon a worthy protector of the pact. Redbeard, your tyranny ends now. As you approach, Redbeard roars. Only one test remains, bla bla. Mhm. So, da können wir jetzt erstmal voll draufhacken. Charges ab. Mhm. Alle außer den und dem das abbekommen, das ist schon okay. Und den an. So, und die können sich so verteilen, dass die hier diese die Kopien abblocken, beziehungsweise die Typen, die dann da auftauchen. Das war noch ein... Ne, das war auch kein ordentlicher. Greifen wir so ein. Mhm. So. Ja, wir könnten uns auf... Okay, das waren jetzt aber noch nicht die Kopien von Redbeard, sondern nur die Wachen. Ach, die Kopien kamen bei... Na, weiß ich jetzt gar nicht. Wir könnten auch erstmal die hier erledigen. Ja, das wäre wahrscheinlich auch gar nicht so dumm. Wer ist dran? Die Magierin. Lassen wir die mal in Ruhe. Wir gehen gleich, fokussieren die weg. Das ist, glaube ich, das Beste. Auch wenn die da jetzt nur einmal casten können. Der Lizard. Wobei, der kann da oben schon mal mit angreifen. Der unten, der wird jetzt eh schnell sterben. Der tankt den. Das ist die Spinne. Okay. Auch den. Die Turrets machen natürlich auch schon ordentlich Aua. Dumme Clear Path. Der ist dadurch gestunt worden. Und da kommen die Kopien. Beziehungsweise das ist ja der echte. Na, der ist, glaube ich, aber da ganz gut beschäftigt. Dann gehen wir mit allen nach unten. Zzt. Okay. Aus der Suppe raus. Ach, der war, weil er gecharmt war. Ja, okay. Den würde ich jetzt nicht für Redbeard verwenden. Ach, das ist das Pet, das kann da angreifen. Sehr schön. Dann muss ich mich eventuell nicht um den kümmern. Das waren 4 Kopien. Ja, greifen wir den hier an. Wow. Er scheint aber eine ganze Menge auszuhalten. Ja. Naja, es geht. Der macht zu wenig Schaden auf Red. Ja, okay, der macht grundsätzlich sehr wenig magischen Schaden. Das ist ganz gut, dass sie gegen die Turrets kämpft. Mhm. Kaling, Rosen, schockt. Wunderbar. Er wird dann auch gegen die Turrets kämpfen. Der sollte natürlich jetzt möglichst schnell schon weg. Und weg mit dir. Zwar natürlich nicht der echte, weil der da ist. Ja, das war das Vieh da unten, was jetzt gestorben ist. Den habe ich keine Ahnung. Okay, Okay, wir müssen jetzt anfangen, diese Tränke zu trinken. Wir nehmen uns jetzt den vor. 2. Dann trinken wir diesen Speed-Trank. Und Pew. So, dann ist die dran. Frozen ist zwar jetzt nicht so schön, aber kann da schon angreifen, nimmt jetzt auch den Speed-Trank. Der ist da ja eigentlich recht sicher, würde ich sagen. Die nimmt auch den Speed. Oh, kann die da schon. Aber nach dem Trank trinken kann man sich so eh noch bewegen. Von daher. Ist schon. Mhm. Die eine Turret ist verschwunden. Das müsste die Turret vom Hauptcharakter sein. So, der muss auch den Trank trinken. Nicht so gut, aber dadurch, dass er gerade dran war, sollten wir dann ganz gute Karten haben, den wieder rauszuholen. Ja. Laufen wir mal dahin, da sollten wir jetzt in Reichweite zu allen sein. Holen den raus und machen eine Heilung. Ne, die Heilung machen wir noch nicht. Stattdessen bauen wir hier noch die Turret wieder auf, die erste. Der hier sollte jetzt umfallen. Na, noch nicht. Oh, der. Da hätte ich noch trinken müssen, okay. Die braucht. Ne, den hat den Buff noch. Die müsste da eher angreifen. Pets. Pets. Mhm. Sehr gut. Ah, keinen Saft, um den Heal zu machen. Dann nehmen wir das Rejuvenation Nummer 1. Und machen jetzt erstmal eine Heilung. Wir müssen nachher noch die Turret holen, die zweite. So, die trinkt auch ein Speed und läuft dann aber nach oben. Die hier müssten wir erst noch ausschalten. Die wird gleich die Turret auch neu holen müssen. Bleibt erstmal so weit wie möglich weg. Die kann eventuell... Oh, das sieht wieder an. Dann könnten sie halt zweimal casten, aber das nutzt halt nichts, wenn sie da dann auch niemanden mehr mit erreichen kann. Doch mal lieber so. Da können wir alle drei mit treffen. Schön. Mhm. Sehr gut. Ja, den echten Redbeard lassen wir, wie gesagt, erstmal außen vor. Reicht schon, wenn die Turret den am Malträtieren ist. Oh! Aber dafür steht er jetzt daneben. Ich will eigentlich nicht durch die Suppe laufen. Machen wir das hier. Ich könnte den halt hiermit auch tanken. Und damit erstmal den kaputt schlagen. So, weiter raus. Nehmen wir den da. Können wir nur einen von erreichen. Dann nehmen wir den. Ja, die macht halt sehr wenig Schaden. Naja, ist jetzt zu weit. Ne. Okay. 11. Und dann hacken wir da drauf. Wir könnten allerdings auch neue Begleiter holen. Mhm. Die steht ja ziemlich mittig. Die könnte mal den hier benutzen. Und die hat einen davon, damit können wir diese Schadenszauber wegnehmen. Weil die natürlich jetzt damit auch Angriffe verschwendet haben. Aber gerade die tut ja sowieso eher wenig mit Zauber. Wobei der ist rangekommen, dann können wir den angreifen. Machen wir das. Naja, ja, 94. Aua. Nehmen wir den. Und das war ein Cone-Angriff. Ja. Die Turrets sind weg. Damit ist der weg. Ja, weil die immer noch in der Suppe stehen, kriegen ja Schock natürlich auch da neu drauf. Nehmen wir den als nächstes. Dann laufen wir wieder drauf, aber einmal heilen. Zip. Und zuerst mal die starke Turret. Für die andere brauchen wir mehr Saft. Dann nehmen wir Rejuvenation. Thron hier, genau. Sie hatten die da jetzt gerade Ice Storm. Ja, die wird sich auf jeden Fall jetzt gerade heilen. Und den da machen wir weg. Ja, aber zumindest kriegen wir das nicht mit ab und heilen dann. Ja, Redbeard ist... Ja. He raises the hand and absorbs the fading power, bla 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 bla. Ja. Okay, wir haben noch den. Das heißt, jetzt können wir den... Ja, schießen wir erstmal den hier um. Ach, da müsste ich den Buff wieder anmachen. Bauen wir noch die Turret. Ouch. Regenerating. Spectre. Was bist du denn für einer? Scheint aber auch nicht besonders viel auszuhalten. Lost Soul. Den Buff wieder aktiv machen. Und Batsch. Na, was? Na, die halten nicht viel aus. Gleich weg. erstmal den Buff aktiv machen. Dann kann der da oben noch einmal Doch, kann der da oben machen. Dann greifen wir stattdessen unten an. Redbeard will ich noch nicht angreifen. Nochmal hier. Wunderbar. Ja, gut, dann einmal da drauf. Stufeneinstieg, jetzt sind alle auf 30. Machen wir das gerade noch. So. Ja. Komplett Unsinn. Also nehmen wir... So. Hier ist dran. Könnte halt auch einen Pet widerrufen. Machen wir mal. Können wir den da rüber schicken? Terrified. Oh, schön geklieft. Weg ist er. So, bleibt nur noch Redbeard übrig. Da haben wir jetzt eine Menge, die ein bisschen verwundet sind. Machen wir mal den. So, der Haste ist langsam auch wieder weg, aber dann kann die wieder den neuen Cast machen. No, es geht doch ganz gut. Ja, drauf. Der ist dran, der kann wieder schießen. Ja, hätte ich wahrscheinlich besser noch ein bisschen bewegt, weil der wahrscheinlich den Frenzy nicht abbekommt. Now Redbeard is getting angry. You are forcing me to expend true magic. Magic that took me years to accumulate. When you will pay for this, Kordanor. When I take you, your torment will last for centuries. Redbeard raises a fist. He mutters a few words of power, and then something goes wrong. Cracks appear on his skin. The color flows out of his face. He looks like he did when the corruption infected him. No, he moans. The medicine you brought me from my tower, it isn't working. It is fading. What did you do? The poison Protoss put in his potion is weakening him. Ah, ja. Sehr schön. Sonst hätte das da wahrscheinlich, wäre es dann noch schwerer geworden, keine Ahnung. Ach so, falsch. Ah, gut, die hat noch. Ne, hat wieder abbekommen. Wunderbar. Ja gut, das wird er jetzt nicht mehr lange machen. Redbeard vanishes again. Again, Redbeard appear in the circle around the room. They run out of the circles, hunting you down. Okay, links unten ist der richtige. Ich kann den wahrscheinlich jetzt wegfokussen. Weil der hält ja jetzt nicht mehr so wahnsinnig viel aus. Pets wären natürlich hier trotzdem noch ganz praktisch jetzt. Moment. Ich weiß jetzt nicht, ob der schon einen beschworen hatte. Hat schon. Laufen halt in die Suppe rein. Und dann gucke ich mal. Hat er auch schon. Ach, die hatte gar keinen Beschwörungsdingsstab. Nicht so optimal. Steht die jetzt äußerst scheiße da. Mal dahin. Das war jetzt ein Feld zu weit. So, der muss den tanken. Den habe ich übersehen. Läuft nach unten. Und then stun for 2 Tage. Es macht alles keinen Sinn. Also können wir auch drauf laufen. Aha. The real Redbeard is increasingly battered and bloodied. He stumbles under the force of your blows. He absorbs the waning power of his magical constructs. He gasps, "Too long, too little rest, too many battles. A year ago, I would have destroyed you. You could never made me expand." And then he raises both of his hands. The hall starts to grow very hot. The spectators shout in alarm. Behind him, you see that Avadon is doing something. She's rubbing something between her palms, muttering a spell. She moves her hands apart, and Redbeard's hair drops to the ground and bursts into flame. If he wasn't so weak and the spell so elaborate, Diren's magical trick would never have worked. Instead, Redbeard's spell is disrupted. Redbeard looks at Diren, and for the first time you see despair on his face. Such crude magic! But at a moment of weakness, you will pay for this, Diren. The whole council will. Okay, das war das Haar. Oh, der hat sich nochmal ordentlich geheilt. Dann... Ja, feuern wir einfach weiter drauf. Der hatte aber ein Blade Shield an, also da sollten wir jetzt wahrscheinlich nicht drauf hacken. Schießen wir einfach mal nur. Wobei... Er hätte sowieso nur 5. Ja, schießen wir einfach nur. Weiter feuern. Reflection hat er auch an. Gecharmt. Okay, wunderbar. Hat den richtigen angegriffen, sag ich mal. Die hat leider den Charm Break nicht. Ich guck mal, ob ich den damit... Autsch! Okay, das tut weh. Den sollte ich nicht angreifen. Regenerating. Aha. Die hätte da auf jeden Fall was gehabt, um ihn zu brechen. Naja, okay. Reflection. Naja, dann tötet sie sich auch gleich noch. Das lassen wir einfach jetzt. Oder? Schießen wir drauf. Da kann nichts passieren. So, damit fangen wir ihn ein. Damit er nicht frei rumlaufen kann. Wunderbar. Ist immer noch aktiv. Ja, wegbewegen möchte ich den eigentlich nicht. Sonst kann der sich noch frei rumlaufen. Also machen wir einfach gar nichts. Ach, der hätte den natürlich rausholen sollen. Dumm. Reflection ist immer noch an. Terrified. Wunderbar, den haben wir so auch wieder. Die Turret ist abgelaufen, das heißt, er kann hier eine neue Turret setzen. Ach, die muss wieder den machen. Reflection ist immer noch an. Ah. Tut jetzt nicht viel. Das war jetzt nicht so gut, aber wir haben immerhin die Fledermaus noch da stehen. Reflection ist noch an. Ja. Wurscht. Normaler hier. So, die ist wieder dran. Zzt. Der Battle Friends ist leider noch auf Cooldown. Dann machen wir jetzt hier einfach einen Speedburst, der auch alle erreicht. Da ist eine Turret abgelaufen. Der Dings ist auch weg. Der Shield. So, da können wir jetzt einmal drum springen. Decoy. Damit können wir den theoretisch stunnen. Aber haben wir den verfehlt. Naja. Autsch. Okay. Baum fällt. At last, Redbeard falls to his knees, defeated. His blade falls from his fingers. He looks up at you. You can't read his expression. Anger, pride, despair. You can't tell. The envoy steps out from behind a pillar and says, Redbeard, you don't have to die. You can still serve the pact in. With his fading strength, he waves her away. He looks up at you. You earned this, Kordanor. He coughs up some blood. Finish it. In our way. Maintain our way. Hat jetzt beides Vor- und Nachteile. Wenn wir ihn sparen, dann wird er uns wahrscheinlich wieder angreifen. Andererseits würden wir damit eventuell den Zyklus irgendwann mal durchbrechen. Wenn er zweimal vertrieben wurde, ob der ein drittes Mal zurückkommt. Wenn wir den jetzt wieder töten, dann, naja. Ja, aber machen wir. Kill him. When you approach, Redbeard nods. Yes, an honorable end. I did it. Won the war for you. Unworthy. I am proud. Do it. With one quick merciful blow you end Redbeard's life. All of his servants, no longer are bound by his magic, vanish. The gates open, everyone looks at you. Then, reluctantly, they kneel. Avadon as a new keeper. You have won. The meeting, which historians will eventually call the Scourging of Avadon, comes to an end. The gates open, the carnage is cleared away. All of the intendants turn and somberly go downstairs, ready to announce what happened to the anxious servants of Avadon. In time, people realize that this meeting was the true end of the Age of Chaos. The path of Avadon, and thus the Pact, was set. Everything come to spring from what was decided in Redbeard's tower. When you reach the main floor of Avadon, the eyes and hands gather round, eager to see who would serve as the new keeper. When you come down the stairs, the hands and eyes stare at you in confusion. Where's Redbeard? Where is Protoss? Then slowly, reality dawns on them. You, hero of the war, scourge of the Farlands, destroyer of Delis, are their new keeper. Now, not acting, a true keeper. One hand cheers, then another. The applause is deafening. They cheer for you, and for a new start, and for peace. Then, slowly, they quiet down. You realize that a speech is expected of you, your first of many. It is a strange role, Keeper of Avadon. You are a warrior, not a speaker. Your words are slow and halting at first, then you grow more confident. If you can face dragons and titans, you can handle this. You tell them your dream. A new Avadon, effective without being a brutal just, and firm without being heartless. You describe a pact that can control the Farlands without driving them to despair and war. It goes over very well. Your short speech takes over an hour because of the many interruptions for applause. Of course, all of your lovely dreams still must face the cruelty of reality. Politics is a land of grey areas and hard compromises, where you will never get all you want. You spent many hard years learning this lesson. You also bring up Envoy Diran to stand beside you. You are sure to swear a new relationship between Avadon and the Pact. You can always go back on your word later. Envoy Diran smiles and shakes your hand, and nobody believes a word that is said. Avadon, at least for a while, will stay true to its nature, the cold, ruthless, efficient maintainer of order. And then the speeches end. Feasts are had. Casks of fine wine are opened. The dungeons are quiet. The celebrating and carousing lasts for days. Not long later, the Farlands sue for peace. There's yet another great meeting as the Pact and the Farlands negotiate peace. You are there, of course. No such business can take place without the influence of Avadon. At the meeting, you try to be even-handed. You make sure the Farlands will pay dearly for their attack on the Pact. At the same time, you see that mercy is shown. Thus, there's hope that another such war won't happen again. Then hands are shaken, treaties are signed, there are yet more parties, parades and celebrations. When the true work begins, creating a new peaceful world. The first order of business, of course, is cleaning up after the war. As the nations of the Pact focus to rebuild, Avadon is allowed to deal with the Farlands. Their attack caused enormous destruction and those loss of life. They must be punished. All agree on that, but how to approach it in a way that the second of another war aren't planted? You have good advisors, good instincts, and intimate knowledge of all the lands in question. You are eager to get to work. You are thus able to punish each Farland with taxes, lost land, and executions where appropriate, just enough to hurt them, but not enough to make them violent. You make them suffer, but always with an eye to attaining lasting peace. The fierce independent Cimmerians turn out to be surprisingly easy to pacify. Chief Tilla and her son Gerd are properly scared by their brush with Avadon, and they are grateful for your mercy. Vanatokstad fiercely argues that the Cimmerians should sue for peace quickly. When this happens, they are rewarded with peace talks. Cimmeria learns at last to stay on their side of the border. In return, they are allowed to mostly survive. The Wildrum Rebellion comes to an end. You're as merciful as you can be, but the rebels are forced to submit totally to Pact law. The rebels give in. Never again will one of the Pact states declare war itself above the law of the Pact. Little by little, the freedoms of the Pact states are lost to Anvar's council in return for safety. None can ever agree if it was worth the price. As for the corruption, it stops spreading and withdraws to its old borders. The pact realizes how close it came to disaster, and it leaves well enough alone. There are no more monitor bases, it becomes illegal to enter the corruption, and this law is seriously enforced. None ever discover the truth about that mad land, its origins or purpose. You ignore it, and it ignores you. The lands of the Warborn stay as they always were, a chaotic arrangement of tribes, alliances and squabbles. They aren't severely punished. Being trapped together in their lands seems like punishment enough. Yet some good does come out of the war. Your informal alliance with the wretches pays some fruit. Some of them are actually capable of forming friendly villages and not raiding everywhere. In time, a few wretch villages are allowed to take root in the pact. Wretches are cunning scouts and tireless workers, and they prove their worth, even Lord Sval gaining some political influence to everyone's surprise. As for the Tavern Empire, the organizer of the rebellion, there is never any debate about their fate. They were the fiercest fighters against the pact. They suffer the most vicious punishments. Temples are leveled, gods are slain, massive preparations are taken. The pact's vengeance is vicious, total, and in the end out of control. Nobody in the tavern whispers a word against the pact for 100 years. The work of peace is, in a way, even more tiring and full of despair than the work of war. In the end, however, the treaties are in place, the final heads have been chopped off, the final payments are delivered. Then life goes on. The hands you were given to command are invaluable in these years of work, yet in the end you must set them free. They go off to chase their own much-delayed goals. You supported Khalida when she needed it, and she in return supports you. With Redbeard gun, she is able to tolerate living in Avadon again. She stays by your side and supports your efforts, even when she disagrees. Hard Khalida is eventually honored as one of the wisest leaders of the pact. Botan doesn't return to Holklander after all. You convince him to stay in Avadon. His aversion to violence never leaves him, but whenever there is a dispute to settle, he is always the best negotiator for the job. In time, many start to refer to Hard Botan as the Peacekeeper. Little in his life brings him more pleasure. You hear stories of Rudolph's work in the Wildrim. He forgives the rebels for their crimes and struggles to bring peace to that war-torn land. It turns out the title of Hand still has great importance here. Many thought that the rebels would never submit to the pact. In fact, thanks in part to Rudolph's help, a lasting peace is achieved. It is nothing short of miraculous. Somehow, the knowledge Nathalie obtained in Svar's Peninsula satisfies her. At last, she's able to believe in herself and concentrate on putting her great talent in the service of the pact. She's an invaluable source of strength for you. She carries out every mission you give, ruthlessly and without hesitation, only asking for another scroll or bit of knowledge in return. She's a great ally, though eventually a frightening one. Selena returns to her duties as Hand, carrying them out with cheerful efficiency. Meanwhile, all of the thinking constructs have completely disappeared. She says that she destroyed them in the end. You chose to believe her. She is skilled, knowledgeable, and very useful to you. Everyone likes her so much so that nobody asks too many questions when she disappears for months at a time. The years passed, the pact settled its differences, the ruined cities rebuilt themselves, Avadon repaired its damage and replaced its fallen servants. You settle into your lofty post as keeper. It takes a lot of work. You have to figure out everything for yourself, from who holds the levers of power to who talk to get your chamber cleaned. Avadon does not resist your rule. You are the hero of the Age of Chaos, of course. You are respected, more importantly, you are feared. You take care to avoid Redbeard's mistakes, consolidate your power and try to regain the trust of Hanva's council. After a few years, you're settled in. Then you begin to work toward your true goal. You do everything you can to make Avadon a fairer, more predictable guardian than it was under Redbeard. With the advice of your hearts, you lead Avadon to a level of prestige and power it has not seen in decades. Hanva's council begins to support Avadon again. Your knowledge of the Farlands helps you control them without infuriating them. You achieve the record for longest time spent as keeper without any assassination attempts. Though you are feared, you make sure not to lose touch with those under you. You are often found in the great dining hall, telling young hands and eyes tales of the Age of Chaos. Yet, you never gain Redbeard's level of power. None can help you master his many magical artifacts. Whatever helped him to stay young for so long, you never figure it out. Your rule is considered a great success by all, and history remembers you kindly after you are gone. As for you, you retire from the position of keeper in the conventional way. You grow old, you get weak, your attention fades from time to time. After over 20 years in your post, 3 hands corner you in a back corridor late at night. You are too slow to activate your defenses, they stab you to death. As loved as you were, all saw that your energy was flagging. At least you were spared the madness that afflicted Redbeard. You are interred with great honor and ceremony in the deep vaults under Avadon. You are remembered with great kindness, and that is the end of your story. In time, all of this passes into memory. Redbeard, Delis, the Age of Chaos, you, and yes, even Avadon, their stories are written down and gather dust. Your tale, all of the blood, sacrifice and triumph, in the end serves to bore generations of schoolchildren. The world you pass on them is both your gift and your curse. Your time passes, the young are left to laugh, fear, suffer, and survive in and serve once again in the world that you made. The End. Ja, und damit hätten wir das jetzt quasi mit beiden Endmöglichkeiten durch. Ich hätte natürlich jetzt auch noch leben lassen können, um zu gucken, was da passiert. Das würde ich aber jetzt nicht nochmal machen. Und ja, damit hätten wir es. Ich danke fürs Zuschauen. Ich fand das Spiel auf jeden Fall sehr gut. Es ist natürlich weiterhin schade. Zum einen, dass die Grafik jetzt nicht wirklich verbessert wurde. Eigentlich wurde sie gar nicht verbessert. Und vor allem Dingen auch, dass es immer noch keine Musik gab. Außer jetzt gerade die Musik, die ihr hört, die gehört tatsächlich zum Spiel. Die restliche Musik, die ich ja verwendet hatte, das war Royalty-Free Music von, ich glaube, Incompetech nennt sich die Firma. Und Incompetech gehört zu, Incompetech will ich gerade noch erwähnt haben. Weil es halt, genau, Kevin MacLeod ist das, der die Musik gemacht hat und for free jedem zur Verfügung stellt, der ihn erwähnt. Und ja, ist auf jeden Fall eine noble Sache, finde ich. Und ja, vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und wir schauen dann weiter, was als nächstes ansteht. Bis denn!